back then was that wineries here in the United States could not ship their own product to many consumers here in their own country. And so that was a problem that we saw as a huge opportunity. And so we spent a few years building out a clearing platform, which would enable those wineries to get their products into the hands of consumers in many of those states. And after the clearing system, we basically built out the entire warehouse management system, again, within this highly regulated, complex world of alcoholic beverages.
Welcome to the show, Scalable Thinking. This is your host, Edgar Sierra, and today we have Jim, who is the co-founder for Jim. How are you today?
Hey, Edgar, I'm doing great. Thanks very much for having me. Looking forward to our discussion today.
Great. It's great to have you here. And first of all, why don't we start with what Ford does and the kind of impact you're making with your clients?
Yeah. So Fort is we are a SaaS platform. We are focused on enabling shipping for the wine industry, which is obviously it's sort of a very specific niche. And I can tell you a little bit about how we ended up focusing on that. But we are our primary clients are in two groups. One is 3PLs, as I mentioned. And by 3PL, I mean third-party logistics company that would have multiple clients, and it would store product on behalf of those clients and then ship it out when order data from those clients comes in. So the 3PL obviously needs to keep every single company record straight, needs to keep login information specific to that company, needs to have different business rules for each of those clients that it has. And so that's really what our platform enables, is that multi-tenant functionality within the world of logistics and shipping. So 3PLs, I would say, are our core client type. In addition to 3PLs, however, we also have a number of clients that are producers. And specifically in the wine industry, that means they're wineries. But they are either big enough so that they have a need for their own warehouse management system, or they have a specific, a particular focus on direct-to-consumer shipping, and maybe a little bit a mix of B2B or trade orders in with those D2C orders. But our platform manages all of that for them. And in the wine industry, the difference between trade and direct-to-consumer orders is important because there are very critical tax differences between them. Inventory can be bonded or tax paid, and the different taxes that are due when product is moved in certain ways or shipped to certain clients. So we manage all of that, and that, in a nutshell, is what Fort focuses on.
You mentioned something that you've started with a wider target, but you ended up with the wine industry. What happened?
We started actually quite a long time ago. By internet standards, we're serious veterans. My business partner, Scott, who I met in graduate school back in New York in the late 1980s, we had different careers, and we did followed those careers for over 10 years. And then we decided to start this company in 1999. The original business model that we had was not exactly what we're doing today. It was a wine gifting model, rather like FTD is for flowers, where you could walk into a florist in, say, Mexico City and send a dozen roses to someone in Paris. What you're sending isn't the product, it's the order data. And there's a network that handles that. So the florist in Paris would get this order data and would take flowers from his or her inventory and deliver it to the recipient. So we built the same thing for wine, and we called it 800 wine, like 800 flowers. And it actually lasted for 11 or 12 years. But we realized very soon, and quickly, I should say, that that model really needed a major marketing and advertising budget in order to compete with the other gifting options that it was going up against. And we never raised that kind of money for 800 wine. So after we realized that, however, we also were in a position where we had a front row seat to the real problems in the wine industry. And the real problem back then was that wineries here in the United States could not ship their own product to many consumers here in their own country. And so that was a problem that we saw as a huge
Yeah.
opportunity. And so we spent a few years building out a clearing platform, which would enable those wineries to get their products into the hands of consumers in many of those states. And after the clearing system, we basically built out the entire warehouse management system, again, within this highly regulated, complex world of alcoholic beverages. Yeah, you could argue that, our first model back in 1999 was really the first step on our journey into this world of tighter and better management of logistics for alcoholic beverages. But so now we are, in 2025, our core platform is the WMS platform, and we're also adding on to that. We're adding other modules. We have a streamline version of the platform that we call Fort Ship, which is designed for wineries that ship their own product out. And then we have a new module that is coming out shortly that we're calling Fort Metrics. And Metrics is a data analytics platform. We have loads of data in the system that we've never utilized for the specific purpose of data analytics. We've used them for our own analytics, of course, and we have multiple reports in the warehouse management system platform that clients use, but again, never specifically for analytics. And so that's what we're building now. We're very close to launching it. So we're particularly excited about that opportunity.
Yeah, I have heard that one of the most valuable things a company can have is the data.
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah, I think that actually has been true for quite a while now. Although the age that
Yeah.
we're in right now just really helps to illuminate how obvious that fact is. But yeah, people underestimate the value of data at their own peril. Data basically is critical to virtually every business. Yeah. So back to our metrics module, when we realized not only the breadth of the data, but the depth of the data that we had, we realized it could really be an important analytical tool for not only clients of the platform today, but prospective future clients who might not even use the warehouse management system or Fort to packages just because of the power of that data set. And the other interesting thing for us is that once metrics is up and running, it's because of the nature of the analytics themselves, it really isn't limited to beverage alcohol. It's a framework many industries could fit. So we're very hopeful and sanguine about the opportunities for metrics. And we're going to continue to put a lot of focus into making sure that it is as useful, as powerful as it can possibly be.
Exciting times for Ford, right?
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a uh you know specific niche and very interesting niche, almost not unique, but it's not that common. So how do you get your clients? What
Yeah, that's a good question. As I said, we started a long time ago in the wine industry. And so one of the benefits of being in an industry like wine is it's relatively small. It's really a double-edged sword. There's a beneficial side to it, and there's a side that is perhaps not so beneficial. But one of the benefits is that because it's so small, we have never really had to do a lot of advertising or client outreach. So the vast majority of clients we have came to us through word of mouth. They heard about the platform that we had. They contacted us, asked for a demo. We gave them a demo, and they saw that it would, our platform would be a good solution that
Okay.
would really fit for their business. Having said that, we're now trying to step it up a little bit because we've never had to get the word out within the wine industry. But as I just mentioned about metrics, we're really not limited to beverage alcohol anymore. So we are doing more to create that inbound traffic that companies talk about. We just, for example, this year got HubSpot, and we're going to be doing more to generate inbound traffic to the website. I think ideally doing some things to attract more interest, like webinars and doing more white papers and discussions like this to help just generate awareness of what it is that we're doing. So, yeah, we're starting to be a little bit more present in that world of making sure that we're doing a thorough job of getting the word out about what we're doing to others.
What would you say are the most pressing challenges and issues you have between where you are right now and where you want to be in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I would say there are a few issues that, that could, that we need to be focused on that could, present, present hurdles to us. One issue is the quite obvious, which is our size. We're very small. We're a very sort of small but nimble team. We have 11 full-time people, and we have 4 or 5 contractors that we work with also on a regular basis. We're we're a very small team, so in terms of scale, we have a hard time competing with the other enterprise class logistics providers that have hundreds or thousands of employees, and they can put together different teams on different areas that they're focused on. Really very small, which has been fine for the wine industry focus. So that is one thing that limits us in an obvious way. There are other challenges too that we face. One is in the wine industry, and wine with growth
Price.
um, being sort of slowing down. There's been a significant slowdown in the last year compared to previous years. In fact, from the early 1990s through like 2021, every single year there was significant growth in the direct to consumer uh, wine market. So more wine was sold and more wine was shipped direct to consumers every single year. Now we're seeing the World Health Organization coming out with warnings about alcohol and going out of business, shutting down. I think that this is something that will be a fairly minor bump in the road. I think that there are other studies I've heard about that are coming out now that show once again that wine in moderation, and that's the key, can be part of a very healthy diet. The Mediterranean diet has shown that for years. Gradual annual growth will continue, and we'll probably find the industry starting to grow again within another year or two, I would guess. But so nonetheless, that remains a challenge. Um, and so that's something that it doesn't affect us so much as it affects our clients. I mean, it affects us in terms of obviously volume of packages being shipped. But so there are some wineries that are certainly, concerned about that and making sure that they do, their very best to attract and retain club members, for example. And so, that's um, that would be, a second sort of market factor that we are, keeping our eyes on.
Looking at the industry right now, what are the trends or shifts that you are most excited about? And then the most that you're concerned about?
Yeah, I would say on the concern side, yes, it's definitely number one would probably be just overall consumption and the continued ability of wine as a product to attract younger consumers. I would say one answer would be what probably people are excited about in multiple industries, and that is the role that AI can play in the world of logistics and shipping. It also has already played a role in what we do here at Fort in helping us create things much more quickly. Really get an in-depth grasp of various things right away. But I think AI will continue to play probably an increasingly larger role in not only on the consumer side in the wine industry, but even in what you know platforms like ours do on the back end and in terms of logistics and shipping.
How do you see Ford in the next 12 months? Is shifting to the analytics or they are trying to push both streams, the logistics and the analytics at the same time?
Yeah, I see us continuing to focus on our core platform, which is this management system for again both 3PLs and for producers. And I see us engaging in more and deeper integrations with key industry partners, with compliance companies, order management systems, and getting as much data into Fort as possible. And we need to do that, obviously, because if a winery has its packages shipped from a Fort powered 3PL, that data that they take in their order management system shopping cart has got to go through a compliance check, which probably is a third party, and has to be seamlessly imported into that compliance company. And then from that compliance company, imported into Fort. It's all through APIs typically, but, or it could be, the other way around. But all those integrations are critical for us. So I see us continuing to do that. But to your point, I also see us focusing on Fort metrics and having Fort metrics occupy, I think, a bigger and bigger portion of not only our focus, but of our business. Again, I think that the application of Fort metrics is definitely wide in the wine industry, but it is not limited to wine, as I mentioned before. So I think that there are multiple opportunities that we can pursue within the world of metrics, by which I mean the world of data analytics and data analytics really for package shipments and package shipments for producers, for retailers, for marketers. It doesn't really matter. It's how can I helps answer questions like how can I reduce the number of returns that I have? Returns are very costly
Yeah.
for retailers and for shippers. Of course, how can I increase the average amount of time that my club members stay in my club? How can I figure out whether this discount that I just gave someone to buy a bottle of wine or join my club, if it's really worth it? What's really happening when that customer joins and I give them a 40% discount, which costs me X dollars? What ends up happening to that customer? Are they more likely to jump within a month or two? That sort of thing. So you really help drill down and help business owners really get a good grasp on what's going on at the ground level in their businesses. So very excited about that for metrics.
If you had the perfect partner or resource, what would it help you to unlock right now to get to where you want to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's see. Well, a source of unlimited capital would always be welcome. Yeah. Well, so yeah, that would be, well, I mean, to be serious about that, if we had unlimited capital, we would probably look to strategically build out, the company and make a few key acquisitions and broaden the range of applicability that Fort has in any given transaction. But yeah, one other thing that springs to mind is in our business, as I mentioned a minute ago, integrations are key. Absolutely have to be integrated with many different companies in this space that we're in, this fulfillment and shipping space. And so because of that, you really need those integrations to be seamless, need them to be 100% reliable and obviously 100% accurate, and ideally completely secure. And so what I would do with that magic wand is wish for 100% all integrations to be flawless, perfect, seamless every time, and to be integrated with all relevant partner companies. That would make our lives much easier.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but we would be super happy to have you here again and we can deep dive into some of those topics. But for now, tell us how people can find you online in case they want to get in touch with you, know more about the company.
Yes, indeed. The easiest way is just to go directly to our website. We're at fortsystems.com, FORT, and then systems with an S.com. FORT, by the way, I should mention, originally was an acronym and it stood for fulfillment, ordering, routing, and tracking. We now sometimes say fulfillment, ordering, reporting, and tracking, but that's how we came up with the name Fort. People sometimes hear it and think that we're a security company. There are security elements within Fort, but that's where Fort came from. But yes, to answer your question, I would just come to fortsystems.com, and we have quite a bit of information about what we do and ways to contact us right there on the website.
We will see you in the next chapter. Do you have anything to close the conversation with, Jim?
Nothing really in particular. Just thank you again for the opportunity, Edgar. I very much enjoyed speaking with you, and yeah, uh, I look forward to hopefully having an opportunity to speak with you again sometime soon.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Edgar.